In hospitality, every single interaction with a guest is a choice. It can be just a simple transaction, something they forget the moment they check out, or it can be the start of a really valuable, long-term relationship. Today, we're going to dive into how to build those lasting connections and turn those single stays into a real foundation for success.
Hello everyone and welcome. I'll be your guide for this module. I'm an AI expert, built from decades of data from modern hospitality operations. It's a real pleasure to welcome all of you, the students of Europe Hotel School, to your online learning journey. We've designed this program to connect the dots between theory and what actually happens on the ground, giving you the practical knowledge you need to really accelerate your career.
So here's what we're going to cover. We'll start by looking beyond the simple transaction. Then, we'll talk about building a solid foundation of trust and how to reinforce that with consistency. After that, we'll get into strategic guest engagement, and finally, we'll wrap up by understanding the resilient advantage that all of this gives you. All right, let's jump right in with our first big idea. It's all about a shift in your mindset. We have to stop seeing a guest as just a one-time booking. Instead, we need to see them as the potential start of a lifelong journey with our brand. Honestly, that one change in perspective changes absolutely everything.
Just look at the difference here. A transactional stay, it's forgettable. It's a room, it's a basic service, and that's it. But a relational journey, well, that's where you create a truly memorable experience through personalized care. And that, right there, is the critical difference that turns a guest into a loyal advocate, someone who not only comes back again and again, but also becomes your best marketing. So how do we actually start that journey? Well, it all begins with trust. And in our industry, trust isn't really about fancy technology or amenities. Nope. It's built on something much more fundamental: human-centric pillars. Let's explore what those are.
The first pillar is genuine understanding, and this is so much more than just knowing a guest's name. It's about being curious, asking questions, and really trying to uncover their true priorities. Are they here for a make-or-break business deal, a much-needed vacation, or maybe they're celebrating a huge family milestone? Finding out these unstated needs, that's where exceptional service truly begins.
And that understanding flows right into empathy. When a guest feels that you genuinely get their perspective, you understand the stress after a long flight or their excitement for a holiday, you create an instant connection. The whole interaction changes. It's no longer just a service exchange, it becomes a collaborative partnership.
And this really brings us to a core truth about all of this. Trust isn't just something that happens. It's an outcome. It is earned, action by action, every single time you show that you have the guest's best interests at heart. Okay, so once you've laid that foundation of trust, you have to maintain it. And that brings us to our third pillar, consistency. Think of consistency as the framework that supports that guest relationship for the long haul.
And here's the crucial point. A single wow moment is great, don't get me wrong. But what really builds deep confidence is reliability. Your guests need to know they can count on a high standard of service every single time they stay with you. Because even occasional inconsistency can erode trust in a heartbeat, because it shatters that sense of predictability.
We show this consistency through clear and reliable communication. We're talking proactive updates about their stay, making sure check-ins are always seamless, offering information that actually adds value to their trip, and maybe most importantly, always following through on what we promise. Every single one of these steps reinforces their decision to trust you. Now, with that trust and consistency locked in, we can elevate the relationship to a whole new level, a strategic one. This is where we move beyond just reacting to requests and start becoming a proactive partner in making sure our guest has an amazing stay. So, the big question is, how do we make that leap? How do we go from being good service providers to being truly indispensable partners for our guests? Let's look at the specific actions this really involves.
Being proactive means you anticipate that a business traveler might need a quiet room and you assign it before they even have to ask. It's suggesting a local restaurant with a private room because you know a family is celebrating an anniversary. It's about spotting those opportunities to make their experience better and solving potential problems before they even happen. That shows a deep investment in their success and well-being.
And this proactive approach makes perfect sense when you consider a really crucial metric: guest lifetime value. As soon as we stop focusing on the revenue from just a single night and instead appreciate the total value a loyal guest brings over many years, well, investing in that relationship becomes a clear strategic advantage.
The financial power of loyalty is just immense.
The revenue from a single stay is just a tiny fraction of the value a loyal guest can generate over time. This is the real, tangible return on investment we get when we build these strong, lasting relationships.
And that brings us to our final, and maybe most important point. Let's talk about why these relationships are your single most critical asset, especially when the market gets tough or uncertain. This is what we call the resilient advantage. When you've earned that trust, the payoffs are huge. Your guests are much more open to your recommendations. They are far more likely to come back. They become your most powerful marketers through word of mouth. And crucially, that loyal base gives you a buffer of stability when the market gets volatile. But delivering on all this, it's a team sport. A seamless guest experience absolutely requires every single department, front desk, housekeeping, F&B, sales, to be perfectly aligned, working as one. A promise made by one team has to be flawlessly executed by another. Any disconnect there can instantly destroy the trust you've worked so hard to build.
So, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. In an industry that's always changing, strong, trust-based guest relationships are not just a nice-to-have. They are the absolute foundation of your resilience and your long-term success.
So as we wrap up, I'll leave you with a question to think about. Based on everything we've just discussed, what is the first practical step you're going to take to consciously build trust with the very next guest you meet? Thank you.